Hey, my friends, I am super glad that we are able to be back together again. And I am really excited because we are going to do a science lesson today. And science is one of my favorites. And I know it's not something you get to talk about a whole lot in kindergarten, but I know we talked about last week with Miss Shuford about the characteristics of animals and the characteristics of plants and what they need to survive. And I also know you do the weather every day. And you have your little weather chant, and the weather boy, the weather girl tells you what the weather is like that day. And I am super proud of you guys because you already know how to look outside and say, if the sun is shining, it's sunny. And so we are going to talk a little bit more about the weather today and talk about clouds, which clouds are one of my favorite things because I love looking up in the sky and seeing what the clouds look like today. So we are going to get started with our lesson. So here we go. Let Miss Winham get her slides pulled up. Okay, so we are going to learn how to use clouds to predict the weather. So let's get started. So by the end of our lesson, just like last time, we have learning objectives that you'll be able to do by the end of our lesson. You'll be able to compare and contrast types of clouds. So that's just fancy words for you'll be able to tell me how clouds are the same and how different kinds of clouds are different. So you'll be able to look at two clouds, tell me how they're the same, how they're different. You're going to be able to predict the weather using your knowledge or what you know about clouds. And then you're also going to be able to write about your observations. And so your observations, that's just a fancy word for what you see, and you'll be able to write about those. So we're going to get started with a little quick picture walk so you can tell me about what you already know about clouds. So I want you to look at this picture. Think about what you see in this picture. So, do you see rain? Do you see snow? Do you see a sunny day? I know you see grass, but I want you to tell me more about what you see in the weather. So, for this picture, I said, I see a sunny day with some clouds or a few clouds. So, that was my observation. And you're going to write all of your observations in your Jamboard journal. And we'll go over that in a second. So, what about this picture? What do you see here? What's falling down on that window? And what does it look like outside? So I said, I see a rainy day with lots of clouds. So I want you to think about what you see, not what Miss Winham sees, and you're going to write down in those blanks, I see a blank day with whatever you want to say about the clouds. Here's another picture. Now, this is my favorite kind of weather. It might not be yours, but there's some white stuff falling from the sky. It's all over the ground. You might even be able to build a snowman. Oh my goodness. So I said, I see a snowy day with lots of clouds in the sky. You can't even hardly see the clouds because it's snowing so much. Oh goodness. I felt like we were in this kind of weather over the weekend. So the trees are blowing a lot. There's a few clouds up in the sky. I wrote, I see a windy, but still a sunny day with some clouds. Not as quite as many as we saw with the snow or the rain, but there's still some clouds up there in that sky. Ooh, this is a little bit scary looking. I wonder what kind of day this might be. And you think about it. Remember, you're going to write all of these observations down in your science journal. So I said, I see a cloudy day with more clouds than I would see on a sunny day. So it's not raining yet, it's not snowing yet, but there's still some clouds up there in that sky. So you are going to take a moment, pause me right here, and we are going to go and look at our journal page. So if you were in class with Miss Shuford, you have a science journal, a reading journal, or they call them a notebook. We're going to have a virtual science journal. So this is what everybody's science journal looks like, except for your name. It's at the top of this journal page. And what we just did is the weather picture right. So just like we did last time, you're going to click on these sticky notes. you're going to fill in these blanks. So one of my blanks was, I see a sunny day with some clouds. But you don't have to write that. You can write whatever you saw in that day. You saw, well, what kind of day with what kind of clouds? So you press save, and it went right there, right where I had it. So everybody has a page that looks just like this. And you're going to write the answers to what we just did on these sticky notes. 5 pictures, 5 answers. And I know you can do it because you guys are super smart writers. I've seen you do it with Miss Shuford. So now we are going to do a super fun experiment. But before we do our experiment, if you want to participate with us, you need to go grab a few things. You need to grab a mason jar or a plastic cup, something you can see through. Some shaving cream, you might have to borrow it from Dad. Blue food coloring, if you have it. And if you don't have it right now, that's totally okay. You're going to get a cup of warm water because we're going to pour that into our plastic cup or our mason jar in a little bit. You need a pencil and you need some notebook paper or some blank paper because you're going to record those observations we talked about, which is just, remember, another fancy word for what you see happening. And another quick note, make sure that you are wearing some clothes that can get messy. You shouldn't get messy, but you might get messy because we're working with shaving cream and food coloring. So you go get all that stuff, pause me right here, and we'll come back together in just a little bit. So we have transitioned to Miss Winham's kitchen, which is where you should probably go if you plan on participating in our experiment with us when we make our little cloud and make it rain. I am on my counter where you should be as well, on a safe surface so you're not going to spill anything. We need, if you're going to participate with us, a clear glass or a jar that you can see through because we want to be able to imagine that this is our atmosphere and we want to be able to see our rain falling from our cloud. And I went ahead and filled it up just to the top with some water, and so you can do the same. You can feel free to pause me whenever you need to get more time, but I went ahead and filled it up just so I didn't have to walk back and forth to the sink. We'll talk about this a little bit later, but I filled it with water, and we're going to imagine that the water is the air around us. We know we don't live in the ocean. That would be so silly. We're not fish. But for this experiment, we've got to imagine that the water is our air that we breathe. We're down here somewhere on the ground, and up here is the sky, and you'll see in a few minutes because we're going to make our cloud. I'm going to show you what our experiment is going to look like when it is finished. So here is our experiment. This is our cloud. We put some rain, it formed some rain, and the rain fell down in here into our atmosphere. And we would be super wet down here if we were really inside this jar because it would have rained on us, and that would be so silly. So I am going to go ahead and make my cloud. So I've got my shaving cream, and if you're participating with us, you need some foaming shaving cream like this, not some gel shaving cream. So you want it to get all foamy. So here's my atmosphere that I'm going to put my cloud on. So I'm going to tilt you down so you can see. So I'm going to put my cloud right here on top. And we'll learn in a little while. This is called a cumulus cloud, and it becomes a cumulonimbus cloud. So here's my blue food coloring. And I want you to stop right here, pause me, and go back to your Jamboard notebook. And I want you to tell me, write a little quick note about what you think is going to happen when I drop this blue food coloring on here. Remember, we're imagining this blue food coloring is our rain that our cloud is producing. So I want you to go back and write a little note about what you think is going to happen when I drop this blue food coloring onto my cloud. You can pause me right here and then come back to me after you finished. So we are going to keep going, and I'm going to put you back down. Blue food coloring. We'll put some little drops on my cloud. Drop, drop, drop. Drop, drop, drop. And we'll put some over here. Put some over here. Remember, again, we know rain doesn't come down from the clouds like that. It's formed by the clouds, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But I want you to look at what's happening. You see my rain dripping down into those clouds from that cloud? Look at it raining. So if we were down here on Earth, remember, this would be raining down on us. So look at all of that rain just falling. Look at it raining from those clouds. Oh my goodness. So I want you to pause me right here and record your observations. Observations is just what you're noticing is happening. I'm going to turn it around so you get a good little glimpse of it. Record an observation or what you think is happening in our experiment. Just record what you see in their little journal notebook on Jamboard so I can go back and see what you were recording and what you were thinking while you were doing your own experiment. So we'll put that back down. And you can see our nice little cloud on top. We'll talk a little bit later that rain doesn't fall on top of the clouds. It comes from within the clouds. But for our experiment, we had to drop it on top. And this is our atmosphere where the rain is falling down from these clouds. So I want you, after you finish and you've all cleaned up, to go back to your Jamboard assignment and you are going to write down, what do you think would happen if we didn't have our shaving cream cloud? Would it look the same? Would it drop the same? Would the blue look like it was trickling down, or would it just turn the atmosphere blue? And I want you to think about, do we need that shaving cream cloud? Do we need clouds in general? I want you to write in the white column of your journal, what would happen if we didn't have our shaving cream cloud? Think about that really hard, and I look forward to seeing your answers. So we're back from our experiment. That was so much fun. We learned a lot already, but we're going to learn even more. So this is what we just did. We'll run through it in case you want to do it again. First step, you filled your cup with warm water and placed it somewhere safe on that counter or a hard surface. You created your cloud. You put a little bit of shaving cream on the top of the water just until it reached the top of the cup. Then you thought about an observation question. What do you think will happen if we put food coloring on top of the shaving cream? And you wrote your answer in your Jamboard. And if you haven't done it yet, you're going to go back and write your answer in there. Then we put 5 or so drops of blue food coloring on top of the shaving cream. And we watched what is happening. And we wrote our observations in our journal. Again, if you haven't done it, that's okay, because we know you're going to do it in a little bit. Then we cleaned up our area. We poured our shaving cream, our water, and our food coloring into the sink or somewhere safe. And you might want to ask mom or dad for help with that, just because I think it's super important that you ask them for help before making a mess. And then we wrote down the answer to, what do you think would happen if we did the same experiment again without our shaving cream cloud? I don't know what would happen if we did that. You are going to go to your Jamboard. Remember, it looks just like this. You're going to write what you think would happen before you put the blue shaving cream on top, blue food coloring on top of your shaving cream. And then you're going to write your observations, or remember, fancy word for what you just saw. And then right here, you're going to answer this question. What would happen in the experiment without the shaving cream? Or what do you think would happen if we did the same experiment again without the shaving cream? Remember, we talked about, what would it look like? Would it do the same thing? Would the blue food coloring act the same? So think about that and write your answer right there in the center. So we're going to move on to our lesson. So before we talk about those clouds, we're going to talk about what the clouds make, because that's what we saw in our experiment. And that's kind of what we talk about as weather. So what falls down from clouds is called precipitation. Now, I know that's a super hard word, but let's say it together. Precipitation. It's just a fancy word for what falls down from clouds. So our first one, and the one that we mostly probably know about, is called rain. And we got a lot of rain this past weekend. Rain is water, liquid water, what you drink on a daily basis, that falls down from clouds. It's what we just saw in our experiment. And we'll talk about in a little bit what kind of clouds produce rain. Then we have sleet, which is these little bitty pieces of frozen rain. Some people call it freezing rain. And it's just ice, little pieces of ice that fall down from the clouds when it gets really cold outside. And then we have hail, which are bigger chunks of ice that fall down from the clouds. And that's what happens when it thunderstorms outside or gets really loud. We talked about that in our other lesson about what happens when we get scared in a thunderstorm. Sometimes we have hail, and that just means that way up in the clouds, it got a little bit cold and big pieces of ice fell down. We had some of this weekend, and I've never seen it before, so it was kind of silly and crazy to see it outside. And then we have snow, and we most likely know what snow looks like. It's white, it's fluffy, it's pretty, it falls down in the winter time. And so we had a little bit of this year, but not quite as much as I would have liked to see. So now we're going to talk about types of clouds. So we have your cumulus clouds, which are the ones you see right here. They're the ones you've probably seen most often in the sky. They're big and white and fluffy, and they kind of look like cotton balls. And they are kind of what you would see on a sunny day, but you got to watch out for them because they can get a little bit scary. They can turn down here into what are called nimbus clouds or cumulonimbus clouds because they kind of look the same. And nimbus clouds, they're a little bit scary. They're what you see mostly on a rainy or thunderstorm day. And that is a cloud you can look up at and say, oh goodness, I should get inside because it is getting ready to really rain or really be a thunderstorm, and I need to be somewhere safe because the nimbus clouds are up in the sky. Then you have your cirrus clouds, and those look a little bit more like a spider web. So they're really stretchy, they're really stringy, and they look kind of wispy is what people describe them as. Now, cirrus clouds are usually what you would see on a sunny day and maybe a partly cloudy day. That just means the sun is peeking out from behind those clouds and saying hello. Cirrus clouds usually don't produce very much precipitation. That rain, snow, sleet, hail, they're kind of just up in the sky, making the sky look very pretty. Then you have stratus clouds. Now, stratus clouds are really what you would see on a more partly cloudy day. And again, that just means the sun is peeking out from behind those clouds, but it's just kind of cloudy up there. It's not really doing anything, not raining. It might be misting a little bit, but it's not a thunderstorm like we have with our nimbus clouds. Now, I obviously forgot something. We can look up in the sky some days and see no clouds. And what about what happens when there's no clouds in the sky? Well, just like our experiment, we learned and we saw that we need that shaving cream cloud to produce rain. Without clouds, we cannot have any precipitation or rain. So a sky without clouds would tell me it's going to be a sunny day today. It's not going to rain right now. It could rain later. Some clouds could pop up, but most likely it's going to be a hot, sunny day without clouds or rain. So now we're going to talk about the clouds we typically see in the seasons. So I want you to come right here. We're going to click on this and go to YouTube, and we're going to watch a video.
Hey kids, are you in elementary school like us? Do you love science? Well, we love...
Sorry about that ad, guys. Here we go. Listen to the seasons, and we're going to review our seasons before we talk about the clouds we see in the seasons.
Here we go. Oh, oh. Here we go. Oh, oh. Here we go. Here we go. Oh. Here we go. Here we go. Oh. Here we go. Oh. Seasons of the year. Here we go. Oh. Seasons of the year. Here we go. Oh. Seasons of the year. Here we go. Seasons of the year. Here comes the spring with the rain pouring down the fall with the climate getting cooler. Here comes the fall with the leaves falling down. Here comes the fall with the wind blowing loud. Here comes the fall with the leaves changing color. Here comes the fall with the climate getting cooler. Here comes the fall with the leaves falling down. Here comes the fall with the wind blowing loud. Here we go, oh, seasons of the year. 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 Here comes the winter with the ice and the snow. Here comes the winter with the freezing cold. Here comes the winter with the days getting shorter. Here comes the winter with the nights getting longer. Here comes the winter with the ice and the snow. Here comes the winter with the freezing cold. Here comes the winter with the days getting shorter. Here comes the winter with the nights getting longer. Here we go, oh,
Spring,
seasons of the year. Here we go,
summer,
oh, seasons of the year. Here we go,
fall,
oh, seasons of the year. Here we
and
go,
winter.
oh, seasons of the year.
Good job, guys. So we know we have spring, summer, fall, and winter. And so we're going to talk about the kind of clouds we usually see. So winter, not always around here, but it usually snows because it's pretty cold during the winter. So for winter, we need those stratus or nimbus clouds to produce our precipitation, which in the wintertime is snow or freezing rain or sleet. In the springtime, we usually have sunny days like it is today, and we have cumulus clouds or no clouds, but in the spring, we have lots of rain because we need that rain so our plants can grow and be pretty for the summertime. So we might have a few days where those nimbus clouds pop up and cause it to rain, and we might have a few thunderstorms. Now, in the summertime, we love to think that we're going to get a whole summer without any rain. And if we had a sunny day, we probably could look up and see no clouds. We might see some of those wispy cirrus clouds. But in the summertime, you have to be very careful because those cumulus clouds, which are the big white puffy ones, might turn into those mean, scary cumulonimbus clouds that can bring rain and thunderstorms, which usually don't last very long in the summer, but they do pop up. Now, in the fall, we have a few rain showers, which means we need what kind of clouds? Nimbus clouds, that's right. But usually we just have stratus clouds or no clouds because we have breezy fall days. So we are going to do 2 activities and then you are all done with my lesson for the day, and I'm so proud of you for doing such a great job. So right here, you are going to draw a picture of a cloud. Choose your favorite, but I got to know what one it is. So you're going to write me a little note right here. Tell me what kind of cloud it is. Then remember, one of our objectives was we could compare and contrast those types of clouds, and we are going to use a sunny and a rainy day to do that. This object right here is called a Venn diagram, and it helps us compare 2 things. We write what's different on the outsides, and we write what's the same in the middle. So I've already done most of it for you. So on a sunny day, our clouds are usually fluffy, those cumulus clouds, and they're white, like those stratus or the cumulus clouds or the cirrus clouds. Now, on a rainy day, our clouds are those nimbus clouds, which are usually dark clouds, and they're gray clouds. So that's what I wrote. You can add whatever else you think goes in the differences of a sunny day and a rainy day clouds. One thing I need for you to write in there is the season you think we would usually have a sunny day and a rainy day cloud. So you can write whatever season you think you have a sunny day cloud, which is those cumulus clouds, or a rainy day cloud, which is those nimbus clouds. And in the middle, I wrote my similarity, which is clouds can help us predict the weather, either the cloud on a sunny day or the cloud on a rainy day. They can help us predict that weather. So I'm going to show you how you can upload your picture of your cloud. So right here, you can draw your cloud on regular paper. You can click this button right here that says add image. You click it, you're going to be able to find that picture on your computer. And then again, right here, you're going to write the season that you think. So click the text box, click, write your answer right there on your journal page, not on anybody else's journal page, your journal page. Because remember, we're good scientists and we have good notes and good journals. So I am going to stop sharing my screen with you because you have done a great job on this activity today. When you're finished, click that little green check mark on Seesaw to let me know you're done, and you're all good for me today. So I hope you learned lots about clouds and that you can use those clouds to help you predict the weather. When you look up in the sky, whatever clouds you see, you'll know what kind of weather we're going to have that day. So I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Bye.